Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen Workshop. It is November 4th, 2024, and it is 6:30 p.m. I call this workshop to order. The prayer on Thursday night will be with Alderman Haas, the Pledge of Allegiance with Alderman Waldron. Everyone should have a copy of the minutes from the September 26th workshop and the October 3rd regular meeting. We have no one signed up for the public comment period. We will have departmental reports on Thursday. Then moving into our consent agenda, first item is to approve or reject city bids and purchases. And first item we have is going to be state contract purchase fuel for tanks at the Public Works Community Development Services facility. And this will allow the city to purchase fuel for the new tanks. And you should see the rates. It is an indexed price contract, so we don't really have the annual usage, and fuel is budgeted cost of all departments. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to number 2, Sourcewell contract purchase janitorial supplies. This is exactly like it sounds. It's janitorial supplies. We've been using a small vendor for several years, and we will get better pricing if we go with the Sourcewell contract. That's currently awarded to Staples. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to B, approved grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security for the Police Traffic Services Highway Safety Project. And this will reimburse the city up to $25,000 to conduct operations to reduce speeding, aggressive driving, driving under the influence, no seatbelt for usage for children and passengers, those sort of things. Does anyone have any questions? Next we have C, approved facility use agreement with Julianne Holbrook for a Zumba program at the multipurpose building. This is the same one we've had for a while. I think Vice Mayor No is a member of these classes, and this is agreement is $15 an hour. Anything anyone would like to add? Moving on to D, approved facility use agreement with Jacqueline Dixon for a jazzercise program at the multipurpose building. Again, this is very similar to the other one, and it is an hourly fee of $15 an hour. Does anyone have any questions?
Does it require a deposit?
No. Moving on to E, approved facility use agreement with Aliyah Billingsley for a dance and majorette program at the multipurpose building. And again, this is the same as the others, just for a different program, and it is $15 hourly fee. Any questions? Moving on to F, approve an engineering services agreement with Griggs and Maloney for water system asset management plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Board. I hope you all are doing well this evening. The proposal before you is for engineering services to assist the City of Laverne with the development of an asset management plan of the Laverne water system. As a part of the American Recovery Plan non-competitive grant contract, the city must submit an asset management plan to TDEC in order to receive the final 20% of that grant contract amount by that grant ending period. The asset management plan will consist of a written comprehensive plan along with a companion spreadsheet that is essentially a database of all the current assets in the Laverne water system, which includes both the water treatment plant and the water distribution system. According to the state guide documents, it consists of 5 primary components, which is the current state of assets, their level of service, determining the critical assets, evaluation, minimizing life cycle costs to maintain and operate your water system, and a long-term funding plan. Griggs and Maloney staff will collect and enter the current assets inventory data and develop the database in the TDEC template format that's required to be submitted. And then upon entering and processing this data, those assets are ranked from highest to lowest. criticality, and then you develop a capital improvements plan based on those rankings. Developing the inventory is definitely the most time-extensive portion of the scope of work, and the spreadsheet, there's a lot of manual input with drop-downs, so it makes it a little hard to just copy and paste, so there's a lot of time involved with doing that, and they require a lot of information such as the asset name, location, a unique ID has to be assigned to it, its category type, model serial numbers, date it was installed. It gets pretty large. And then the written document will summarize the inventory and the recommendations that go with it, and then it also requires you to address any additional TDEC infrastructure scorecard requirements. Those were some things listed that would apply to Laverne as the meter testing and change-out program, IT infrastructure, and a work order system as it relates to the water system. I'm happy to answer any specific questions y'all may have on that.
So I take it that Griggs and Maloney's gonna, work up a plan?
Yes, sir.
What is it gonna cost the city?
That's the $328,000 budget that
Okay.
would be spanned over to,
Okay.
I guess, of y'all's fiscal years. So
And that can be paid from the grant funds.
this is with local funds. This portion, all of the grant fund is being used on the construction portion of the SCADA project. And then they had some additional requirements, I think if you funded it through the grant funds, so I think this.
Yes, we're using water sewer fund for this. Like she's saying, the grant is, the funding from it is used on the SCADA project.
Okay. Jimmy, do you foresee any issue with meeting the September timeframe with TDEC?
No, sir. We plan to be done within a 12-month period from when this is approved. So this time next year, we would plan to be done and submitting to TDEC well before the September 2026 deadline.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to G, approve change order number 5 with Barron Construction for the Public Works and Community Development Services Facility. This is several changes, but the total cost is $12,951.84. So it's within the project budget, and you can see that the different items here, whether it's structural, Lamb and Associates, furniture, that sort of thing. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to H, approve change order number 2 with Isengard Construction Group for the 2019 Interceptor Improvements Project. And this additional cost is $8,600. And so it is still within the budget for the project. This is for an additional 100 feet of 6-inch suction line and 1 core in the downstream manhole. Is required for the safe sewer bypass during construction. And then the new completion date for this project is April 14th of 2025. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to I, approve change order number 3 to the contract with Mofield Brothers Construction Company, LLC for the Upper Cheney Woods Interceptor Sewer Segments 4 and 3 project. And there's no price change with this change order. It increases the contract time by 210 days due to the lead requirement for the gate and the wet well modifications. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to new business, first reading ordinance 2024-16, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 equitable sharing fund budget. And this is the purchase of 10 Motorola APX 8000 radios and 2 LPR cameras that will be installed on Carruthers Road. The total for this budget amendment's $115,000 for both purchases. Does anyone have any questions? Number 6, Resolution 2024-28, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare a property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. And so we've got about 36 listings for Public Works Department. That includes 2 vehicles. Let's see here. You've got some vehicles and lights from the police department that are no longer needed. Parks and Rec needs to dispose of the inline hockey rink walls and the bleachers. Stormwater's got some chairs they no longer need. It's all for a variety of items. Does anyone have any questions? Moving on to appoint and remove board and committee members. You've got the Beautification and Arts Advisory Committee. We've got 1 term vacant, and no one has applied for that as of yet. This is being advertised on social media and on Channel 3. So if you are watching at home and you would like to apply for this, you can do that online or come down to City Hall. We have applications here. The next one is the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee. Again, we've got 1 term vacant, and this is being advertised on social media and on Channel 3. So again, you can get an application online or from City Hall. And then we've got an FYI. We've got the Laverne Housing Authority. 1 term is expiring on the 30th of November. That is the committee's president, Brenda Bryant, or Pastor Brenda Bryant. We will reach out to her to see if she wishes to remain on this committee or not, and go from there. Next, we have number 8, discussion city administrator performance evaluation. I'll hand it over to Mr. Andrew Patton. Come on down. Thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, good evening. Annually, per the employment contract with the city administrator, we perform an annual review. As you are well aware, we are accustomed to do this with our employees as well, so it follows suit. I want to just give you some highlights of the 2024 review. In front of you, you've got 2 different documents. One of them is the tabulated score sheet from 4 out of the 5 board members who participated in this year's survey. And then the second page is the narrative evaluation. Those would be comments that you provided during the evaluation. I will note that Alderwoman Hobbs provided a separate document, which I will bring to you after the meeting tonight. I did not bring it into the boardroom with me tonight. This year's evaluation, we did redo, so it has a similar look to tabulation. However, the categories are different than they've been in the past. I just want to walk through that quickly. And then I also want to point out on the very right-hand side of the column is we asked Bruce to do a self-evaluation. You may have heard some conversation, it's possible, about the fact that in our citywide evaluation program, we will be adding a self-evaluation as an additional tool that we're going to ask all the employees to do. So I asked Bruce if we could use him as the first example of that, and so you'll see the self-evaluation scores on the right side of the page. So there's sections just like there has been in the past. Section 1, individual characteristics. You see the respective questions that you answered and the scores. You'll also see the overall score towards the right side of the page and what Bruce rated in his self-evaluation. Section 2 is professional skills and status. Section 3 is a category on leadership and decision-making. Section 4 is communication and relations to the elected members of the governing body, yourself. Section 5 deals with financial and fiscal management. 6 is community engagement. Section 7 of the questions to you was on staffing and supervision. 8 on community relations and communication, and 9 on flexibility and adaptability. What I want to point out is that this year's overall score out of 5 was a 4.15. You'll see that Bruce, in his overall self-evaluation, was at a 4.34. I included for you the previous year's total evaluations as well. And you'll see generally between 21, 22, 23, and 24, while 2023 was definitely score-wise a bit of an outlier, the scores have generally stayed consistent in the same range. Is there any questions that you have on the tabulation portion of the evaluation?
I guess, I ain't never asked this, so we do this on Bruce, what, is that just for personal, or not personal, but just HR? What's the word I'm looking for? I mean, why do we do it on Bruce? What's it for? What does it accomplish?
It's part of his contract.
It's part of his contract.
Yeah, for the city administrator, it's written into the contract, but I could probably give you an answer that would be maybe more holistic if we look at Bruce or any city employee. Like, the reason that you do annual reviews is both so that there's written documentation of how the employees are doing in their designated job descriptions, the work that they're doing. We have a lot of conversations as directors about the fact that annual reviews should never be a shock. If the employee is shocked by what they're hearing or receiving, then there's something that we need to change systematically. Every place that I've ever worked has done performance evaluations, and so it's kind of core to how I think. Typically, they are annually. Here at the city, when you are a new hire, we do them at 90 days, and then again at a year mark. There are some departments who do them at 6 months as well. Any ongoing conversation with any staff member is beneficial so that they know where they fall and how their work is. And so the city administrator would be no different to that, other than you just get this survey once a year.
Some of the questions are pointed pretty much directly at coming from an employee's thought process, which we are not, so we don't work for Bruce. I know myself, it's hard for me to answer some of those questions. Some of those I just have to assume because I talk to other employees, and when it comes down to the governing body, then yeah, we can answer those, but some of the duties of him and the employees, I don't know if it's fair to him or fair to us, but I answered them.
Yeah, and Vice Mayor, I would say 2 things related to that. One, if you have a suggestion of an alternate question, happy to review that for next year. But 2, I would say if there's anyone where you'd say, like, I'm not exactly sure because I don't see that area day to day, it is an opportunity for a conversation point, both with him or with other staff members, so that you can have more clarity maybe on that particular question or that area of supervision.
And it's just like, Steve, whenever Andrew started off saying, we shouldn't be talking to any employees, whether it's contract or individual employees, only whenever something's gone wrong. It should be a regular conversation, and that allows feedback and adjustments throughout.
And this memorializes those ongoing conversations.
Do director level have an opportunity to give any feedback to Bruce?
Not in this formal process.
Right.
But certainly on our weekly staff meetings, we have our opportunities. And my experience is Bruce has an open door and is always open to those kind of conversations, but there's not necessarily a formal process in place to do that.
I like his pick on Bruce night.
It's his favorite night of the year. And I was reminded by my fellow peers that it is Monday Night Football night and that I should keep this short and sweet to the point, so.
Any other comments? Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Moving on to mayor and alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
Thank you. Remember, Since we've done changed the time over to what they call daylight saving time, it gets darker earlier, good time to change your battery in your smoke alarms. And, like always, check on the elderly and make sure your pets has got fresh water and ample shade. Thank you.
Alderwoman Hobbs?
Just a reminder to please exercise your right to vote tomorrow. It is your civic duty. Please go out and vote.
Thank you. Alderwoman Haas?
No comment.
Vice Mayor, no?
I got nothing.
Well, I've got just a few things. Want to remind everyone that November 6th at the library, we have police chief story time. And so there may be puppets involved, but it's definitely going to be an interesting time. So be sure to check that out. Hear Chief Mays read a story for preschool age during Once Upon a Story Time, and that's at 10 a.m.
I have a question on that. When is it HR Director story time?
That is weekly, actually. We have a standing. We may even hear from him on Thursday night. And then I want to echo what Alderwoman Hobbs has said. We've had about 49.6% of our registered voters vote in early voting. So still not, it's a very good number, but not the majority of our residents. Please get out and vote. For our community, you can vote at Laverne Middle School, Rock Springs Elementary, and Cedar Grove. And voting is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is Bruce Richardson's favorite day, Election Day. And so please, please, please get out and exercise your right to vote. With that, call this meeting adjourned.